Hi, I'm Larry Dignan with Constellation Insights, and welcome to this week's great debate where we are talking about AI and productivity. And the big question is, where the hell is it? So let's start with Holger. You have 45 seconds. AI is at an inflection point, yes or no?
Yes and no at the same time. It depends. We're in an inflection phase because inflection is not a single causal thing happening for everybody. It's happening one use case, not even one company, one use case at a time. And we're seeing the first use case being positive, but that's not enough good press yet to make an overall inflection point where everybody's saying, oh my God, I need to have it. The good news, which helps tremendously, is that boards have realized that this is something the enterprise needs to do because for the first time, they significantly can change the hand-to-machine ratio and that productivity, availability. We have different kind of economization, monetization of people. So the inflection phase is happening as we speak. It's only doing for these very aggressive technology looking forward companies for selected use cases.
That wasn't bad.
Dot landing.
46 seconds. All right, Martin, go. Where do we stand?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're getting to one in the world of like CRM, go to market and all that. We've proven out some use cases, right? Most people are adopting AI in their service centers to defray costs, to, get those first call resolution rates done, all that great stuff, right? And then obviously on the sales side, you've got the AI SDRs and other that. But what's going on now and what we're seeing is what are those other use cases where we can bring agentic AI in and do it effectively? So now vendors are actually becoming service providers again in ways that they hadn't in years. Just saw a Gainsights conference. They've started this, they're calling it AI native services to actually like make the AI work and be held accountable for it and be part of the outcomes. So as we start to focus, the vendors start to focus on outcome driven pricing and services, hopefully that inflection point change.
Point change.
I had
yes or no? I don't know.
I had no hope that Martin was going to hit 45 seconds. So Esteban, you're up.
So 45 seconds, really quick. I love working with people that are wrong because it makes me look better when I'm right, which is the point that we're now. Inflection point of no return. We're way past the point of no return for Gen AI. I agree with Holger. This is only one part of AI, not the entire AI. We've been working in AI for 40 years. We have another 60 years ahead. But for Gen AI, we're past the inflection point. It's been adopted everywhere. We actually understand the use cases, understand what we're trying to do, understand the few use cases where it actually works. And then is CRM where it's going to work? No, it's not going to work in CRM because Gen AI is about the wisdom of the internet, and the wisdom of the internet never worked for CRM. Inflection point, yes. CRM adoption, no. Overall adoption, meh. Use cases.
And under
3 seconds left, brother.
Very, very well done. That was good.
How do you fucking stop this thing?
All right, so I don't know where that sound effect came from.
I was trying to do a timer to make sure I don't go over, but like the whole thing goes crazy.
Separate timekeeping, interesting.
I know, that's the only way you get the 45 seconds.
The next 45-second round, where is the productivity going to come from? Holger?
Great question. I think it's going to come from all the use cases where you can control the data. I mean, basically companies struggle with getting the data in place, the data architecture for the generative AI, agentic AI era, and that's taking a longer time. It's going to come when enterprises realize the tools which come from the vendors. When you see all the SaaS vendors providing the tooling for enterprise to build their own agents because they don't know 100% what it be. Yes, they're packaged agents. We'll see how well they do. They're like standard software, but it's really enterprise building their own agents or customizing the packaged agents where we'll see the use cases across finance, HR, manufacturing, purchasing, and of course CRM, which you guys mentioned already.
Under the wire. Well done. All right, Martin, your turn to screw it up. Where's the productivity coming from?
Well, I kind of echo Holger. I think it makes a lot of sense where we look at, where do we have the good data? Where can we be more deterministic versus, probabilistic? So where I'm looking at like quote creation, invoicing, what are the kind of things that you can get an agent to do, both like the things that humans couldn't do at scale or the work that they just don't want to do, right? So doing lookups, doing all those things, populating quotes. So I'm looking at this kind of like quote to cash side of things where a lot of these things happen. You've got CPG, you've got other, things that you can go in there or CPQ, sorry, to go in there and get the right information, because a human would have done the same thing. So, but just do it faster, do it better, and then optimize. And I think those are some of the areas like that where you can actually bring deterministic value.
You were there. I don't know what you wanted to add something. You made it. But you had to add something at the end.
He was
Martin
there
is getting
and just,
better. Martin is getting
just
better.
couldn't stop. So Esteban, where's this productivity coming from?
Great question. And actually, I'm going to add a little bit on what they said, and I'm going to separate it a little bit. Two parts. On Gen AI, productivity is coming from doing all the menial tasks that nobody wants to do and nobody can do. The things that are repetitive. I disagree with Martin on determinism. There is no determinism in Gen AI, so it's non-deterministic, but determinism doesn't matter. For agentic AI, it's replacing that Excel spreadsheet, replacing the people that work together that share files via email, replacing all the manual tasks. McKinsey, Bain, everybody found out that the best solutions for agentic AI is reinventing processes, reinvent processes, and put agents to do the parts that actually are repetitive. That's where the productivity is going to come from.
All right. Last question, last round. Tokenomics. Something we'll figure out, or the death of AI productivity? Esteban, all you.
Tokenomics. When I talk about token maxing, oh, please, let's do it. Token maxing is awesome, dude. There's nothing better than overdosing in tokens. Tokenomics, really simple. The cost of tokens becomes irrelevant as we realize that LLMs, which is the reason we use tokens and pay for tokens, are absolutely worthless in the enterprise in 95% of the cases. As we create new models and embrace models that are proprietary and center in what each enterprise needs, tokens become irrelevant. It's no longer a discussion. The discussion is going to switch to the economics or infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure to support AI.
Martin.
Always in the middle. I think kind of to Esteban's point, yeah, like what we're going to see is a mix, right? Where you've got companies utilizing AI to figure out how to do their stuff more efficiently. So they're using less tokens where they would use tokens, and then learning and bringing in smaller proprietary models, other things, which are less kind of token centric. So it's going to be a kind of circle the wagons approach of getting, more efficient use when you're using frontier models and other stuff, but then also kind of a little more build your own so that you're not as beholden to other people that you have to pay every time you touch a piece of AI.
He knew that gong was coming. And he was like this. He was like, oh,
we can learn now,
I
Martin.
can make it. I can get there. All right, Holger.
So to me, tokens is a genius marketing invention, right? Because we used to talk about the cloud cost already in the past, right? And that was always measured in dollars, right? Or in whatever currency you're working in. And now we have this mythical token thing, which is not the same across the cloud, across use case, across machines, right? It's just a monetization unit. What the thinking has to be for AI, and the vendors are mixing that up with the tokenomics, token maxing, and so on. You need to make sure that you leverage what the cloud is there for, the elasticity, that if your business is doing better, you pay more for IT costs. If your business is not doing so well, you pay less. And tokens are just another form of elasticity being cost for you, which you have to use smartly like you did the cloud. And people keep forgetting, I'm running in the public cloud already. I could have the surprise cloud bill at the end of the month. So the same thing with tokens.
What about when you do a hybrid cloud, when you do part of the models and part of the work in a private model and you only use the public cloud for storage and compute power? Either tokens don't become useful. They're completely useless in that model.
Well, then if you don't use your tokens, you don't pay for tokens, right? So if you run your AI on premises, right? I mean, if you want to run tokens or not, you probably use your existing metrics of cost. What does that server farm cost me? And how idle is it, right? Which is a dirty secret of all on-premise computing, that there's massive idle times because they're designed for peak times, right? But I personally think that's another debate we should have. Running AI on premises. I mean, we just saw Dell had a record quarter yesterday. Where we thought that Dell grows 88%, even on the desktop side for 18% or something crazy, right? But running it on premise doesn't have that elasticity. And right now, no CIO on the earth, on the planet, no CTO can go to the board and say, I would like to have 25 grams of GPUs. This is exactly what's going to be fine for us, right? And maybe next year I'm going to up to 50 grams or whatever that is, right?
That's why I said a hybrid network. I mean, you actually run your models and all your resource intensive stuff internal, and then you use compute power to do the calculations and all the analytics and all that stuff. You don't need tokens for that.
It's a great model, right? I mean, remember the days, forget AI for a second, cloud bursting, right? Which on paper is a great model as well. Very few, if nobody, has ever implemented it, right? And the pressure to show value and deliver something in AI is even bigger. right? So I see the Dell revenuers, CIOs on premise saying, look, we have GPUs now as well. We even can run NVIDIA on premise. And what are they going to run, right? To who are they going to give that? What are the frameworks to do that? There's so many questions on top. So it's kind of like a me too on premise part. And don't misunderstand me. I'm a big fan of on premises, right? So I wrote the market overview for next generation compute architectures where you can use workloads seamlessly from the public cloud to on premises because they run faster. You can control the cost.
Yeah.
You're legally compliant with data residency. And this latency thing, right? To say that at last, right? The latency thing is real. It's a problem for dynamic applications where people or other agents are waiting for doing something.
I'm going to say one last thing and we'll wrap up. I agree with you 100%. And what you just described is the next iteration of AI value shield, where it's going to start showing the real value.
And that's it for this week's debate. I think next time we're going to talk about on-prem AI, whether it's BS or not.
Here we go.
Thanks a lot for joining us. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.